Our student athletes from Virginia Commonwealth University, Marcus Evans, Dariante Jenkins, Marco Santos Silva, and Isaac Van. Please introduce yourself and let us know your affiliation. We'll start the first question here, second row on the aisle.
Marcus, can you give us an update on how the knee's feeling, what you've been able to do this week?
It's feeling better each day, still day to day, but you know, I got in practice today and got moving a lot, so it's starting to feel better, so I'm looking forward to Friday.
Marcus, David Teal with the Daily Press and Newport News. How would you describe your evolution over the last year or so, especially as a defensive player, from your time at Rice now to your time with Coach Rhodes at VCU?
I think it's definitely changed a lot. I mean, when I got here, you know, in the offseason, we all decided to buy in. You know, we knew defensively was a thing that we had to improve on. And, you know, in practice especially, you know, with a team talented like this, you know, you're going against guys every day who are, you know, just as good as you. So, you know, as the season progressed, we knew that was going to be the key to our season. So, you know, I just took it more personal as the season went on.
Second row in the front.
Paul Woody, Richmond Times-Dispatch. This is for Dariante. You're one of the few players on the team who was in the 2017 tournament with that team. What was it like last year not to be in the tournament, and what is it that you guys would like to accomplish and prove to people this year?
The feeling was strange, just sitting home, watching the games on TV, wishing you was out there, and knowing the things that you got to work on and improve just to get to this point in the season. And we just going to play our style of basketball, and that's going to take care of itself.
Dariante, Lou Bejak from the state here in Columbia. You're one of the few that have played on this court and in high school. What do you remember about those state championship games and the memories you have? Pretty good ones when you guys beat Newberry.
Yes, it was a great feeling, and I left this the second year we lost, so I'm just trying to redeem myself and get the good feeling in the crowd and in the locker room, and everyone just feeling that, and we have to go from there.
On the right-hand side.
Brian Murphy, Orlando Sentinel. Marcus, just thinking about the knee, you said it's getting better every day, but do you feel limited in any way, any activities you have to do? Do you feel limited? There's still improvements you think you can make before game time?
Obviously, you know, I'm still working each day, rehabbing, but you know, I haven't felt anything to hold me back so far, and everything I've been doing. Obviously, you know, it's hard to simulate a game situation until you're out there, but like I said, I've been feeling better each day, and you know, we're all just looking forward to Friday.
On the aisle in the middle.
Marcus, as you look at the matchup with Taco Fall and that, particularly the size difference, how do you prepare for something like that, and what do you see from him on film?
Just focus on what he's good at, and of course, he's really tall, and then just do what I've been doing the whole season, and I feel like I'll be all right.
Is there any matchup you can compare to that one?
No, not at all. Yeah, but 7'6", yeah, different.
On the aisle, blue shirt.
Dariante, what has Marcus brought to VCU basketball this year that perhaps you guys didn't have last season when he was sitting out and also hurt?
Competitive edge. He's a tough player, and we know we get out of him every single night. He's going to heat the ball up, bring his energy, and we feed off him every single night.
On the aisle, third row, I believe it is.
For anyone other than Marcus Evans, how important is having him in this game, and how difficult or challenging is it to have the uncertainty of maybe not knowing how full strength he might be?
I mean, he's an important part of our offense and defense. I mean, it's huge. Whether he plays or not, I mean, we know if he plays, he's going to bring we know what he's going to bring, and if not, we know he's going to be a huge supporter on the bench.
On the right-hand side. Yeah.
Again, for Marcus, you talked about Taco Fall and how it's difficult, but you know you can't compare it to anything. But have you tried to simulate that in practice? I mean, you got like broomsticks or ladders or something like that?
Yeah, we've been simulating it in practice. One of our assistant coaches, Coach Scott, he's been practicing too because he's like really tall and big. And then we've used like pads to simulate him blocking shots, but not really until you actually play the game. So.
Question for IV. We've heard a lot about Taco, but what has Coach Rhodes stressed this week to you guys? And actually, if you all want to take a crack at this, what did Coach Rhodes stress to you guys about what UCF does well?
Let's start with Isaac, and then we'll give everybody a chance.
We just got to move the ball. We know once their defense is set, they're a very solid defensive team, so we can't play one-on-one basketball. We got to get the ball high and move from side to side, do what we do.
Also, pressuring them when they're on offense, and don't let them get comfortable at all, and just deny everything, and then just do what we do, and we'll be fine.
He's big on the style of play. It's a style of play game, he said. Their style of play versus our style of play, and which one is going to win over.
I mean, they said it all. So yeah.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Here in the front.
Paul Woody, Richmond Times-Dispatch again. Marcus Evans. We've never really heard what exactly happened that injured the knee. Did you just land awkwardly on it and something went out?
Yeah, when I came down, kind of hyperextended it, and obviously with my history, I didn't know what it was until we got in the back, and our trainer kind of informed me, everything was still intact. And then, like I said, just this whole week he's been great with me, just rehabbing, just trying to get me back to, feeling 100%.
Good. And the blue shirt.
Marcus, was there ever much doubt that you were going to have a reunion with Coach Rhodes after he left Rice for VCU, and considering how close it is to home for you?
When I left Rice, I obviously looked around, was looking for the best opportunity. But after talking to some coaches, narrowing down the list, having an opportunity to come home was huge for me. So, and then like I said, the familiarity of VCU and the coaching staff, it kind of just made sense.
Third row on the aisle.
For all you guys, VCU sort of launched as a brand, as a big underdog story. Now, all these years later, and you guys have been to a number of tournaments, do you still feel like you have any of that underdog persona when you think nationally, or do you think you're more of a established brand at this point?
Definitely yes. I feel like people still doubt us of things that we could do, and I feel like this whole season we've been doubted a lot. But we definitely feel like we're still like the underdog and still need to prove people who we are.
Yeah, definitely. Going into each and every game, we got an underdog mindset. Even before the season, we was picked 7th and 9th. So we seen the disrespect all year. So that's just a mindset we had every day.
Dariante or Marcus, do you want to add to that?
Nah, they pretty much said it all. That's just who VCU is. That's what we feed off, and that's how we built this. From dudes in the past to now, is the underdog.
The blue shirt on the aisle.
Dariante, the NCAA's new metric this season ranks your non-conference schedule among the top 5 in the country. How did those games prepare you for not only the Atlantic 10 season, but perhaps this stage as well?
We learn each game. We learn each game, and we use each game as a measuring stick, and come back in practice and just learn. And in conference play, it helped us. We seen ourselves in those situations in conference play, and we just learn from it.
And the back.
Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel, for Marcus or Dariante or both. B.J. Taylor, their point guard. What do you see out of him? What type of player do you think he is?
Marcus first, and then Dariante, please.
He's a crafty guard. Obviously, he's strong. One of the things that we realize is he draws a lot of fouls. So, I mean, the thing about it is just being disciplined when guarding him. You know, keep the ball in front. Any good player, you know, is going to make tough shots, so you can't get discouraged if he hits a few shots. But you just try to make it tough for him, you know, make him take tough shots every game, and we'll be fine.
Dariante?
Marcus said everything.
Any more questions for our student athletes? Thank you, gentlemen. Now that I can count, I'll say it right. You sitting, you really do not see. You don't see it. Yeah. Yeah, hold for about a minute. VCU head coach Mike Rhodes, if you could have a brief opening statement, and then we'll open the floor for questions.
Just really excited to be here. Appreciate everybody and their hospitality. It's been great, and our guys are excited. They can't wait to play. We got a long wait tomorrow, but we're looking forward to being a part of March Madness.
First question here on the aisle.
Mike, can you talk about what you've done, Mike Barber, Richmond Times-Dispatch, can you talk about what you've done in practice to simulate taco size, height, and how you prepared the guys for that?
I wish I could say we got up on a chair with some broomsticks, but you can't move very well that way. We We just did a couple different drills like that. We talk about awareness drills of teams we play that have a different style or a different player or somebody with great size or great quickness, and we talk about breaking down parts of the game, and we call them awareness drills to be aware of of a really fast player like a Briante Weber guarding you, or a guy like Taco Fall around the rim, that you're not just going to go in there and shoot a finger roll, because that's not going to happen. So just a lot of drills like that to have the guys understand that it's got to be on the front of their mind when they're playing in the heat of the game, without a doubt. But a lot of it is prepare for the opponent, but it's all about us and making sure we're ready to go. No, we had a guy on our team like that, like Larry Sanders. So if you're going to attack somebody that big and they're waiting for you and ready for you, it's probably not a good decision. So we got to play the way we do with our style of play and move that ball and be fast and try to get, like we always do, try to get our opponent sort of chasing and being a step or two late. But if they're standing there waiting, it's not going to work.
Coach, on the front right.
Paul Woody, Richmond Times-Dispatch. Larry Sanders is 6'11", and he's still 7 inches shorter than Taco
Right.
Paul. Could you talk a moment about how you got Marcus Evans to Rice, how your relationship with him has grown over the years, and the defensive impact he's had on your team this year?
Yeah, when I was assistant with Coach Smart, we always recruited that area, the 7-5-7, and Marcus was an underclassman at Great Bridge when I was recruiting Briante Weber. So I knew of Marcus. Knew he played for the Boo Williams AU program, which is one of the best in the country, and just kept an eye on him, kept a tag on him, and he kept getting better every year. He wasn't the shooter that he is now, but he was just a dynamic type of guard, the way he moved, and stayed in touch with him and his coaches. And then when the Rice, we were recruiting him and staying in touch with him when I was assistant at VCU, but when all that went down with Rice and I was going there, he was one of the first phone calls. I think I called him before I called and offered some assistant coaches a job. I think it was a good move. And just, the neat thing about Marcus is his competitive spirit, his competitive edge. I knew it would fit my personality really well, and I thought then, and I still feel it now, is probably his greatest strength is he just has a competitive spirit that his teammates catch too, and that's the biggest thing. And you see that when he plays defense, Paul, he can guard the ball different ways, but he can just constantly put pressure on the game with his defensive pressure and his knack. I guess there's something in the water at Great Bridge, because on the ball defense, we've been very fortunate at VCU to have some guys from Great Bridge that can really guard the ball and pressure the game and impact the game just by his defensive presence.
Coach, the red shirt on the right.
Brian Murphy, Orlando Sentinel. Obviously, forcing turnovers is big for you guys. So what are your impressions of their guards, B.J. Taylor and Terrell Allen?
Oh, very good players. I mean, you can't play in that conference with a really good team, be a really good team and play against all those other guards if you can't hold your own and do more. BJ's a really talented player. I remember him for a number of years now. He can make plays. He's strong. He handles the ball. He's an upperclassman. Allen, of course, can really play and handle the ball. Everybody can handle the ball. Guards are really good at when you get to this point of the year, without a doubt, and they've seen all types of defenses. So, it's not. It doesn't mean you're just going to turn somebody over and get a steal every time down the court, but that's just what we do. We play. We want to have great pressure and mess things up for the other team as best we can. But you're playing against really good players too. So, number one, you got to respect them, and you got to have a plan against them. But we're going to do what we do, and hopefully that's enough.
On the aisle.
Coach, Wes McElroy, Sports Radio 910, The Fan. You spoke about this year being a learning experience. Is there any team that you can go back to in your non-conference schedule or regular conference season that has a style or a tendency of UCF? Anything look similar or familiar?
No, I think Temple, playing Temple early in the year is similar with that the way they play, and then the two games that they played against each other, you saw some similar tendencies, and then probably some of the teams in our league are similar. We're really strong, guards, confident guards, and then really solid around the rim and guys that can make plays. So, you know, we've played a really tough schedule. I think all our games this year really helped us. We had some games where we got the style of play going. We had some games where we had to grind it out. Some games we didn't shoot the ball well, but our defense showed up. So hopefully all those experiences help us. You know, there's some teams similar. I would think Temple is one of them for sure. And then, you know, I think it's more about preparing for whoever you play in the NCAA tournament. You got to make sure your team's right, more important than the plan itself.
Staying there on the right side.
Wayne Ellis, Richmond Towns Dispatch. What does Marcus Evans' workload look like over the last day or so, and what would it look like over the next 24 hours for Friday night?
Yeah, he's worked really hard. He's rehabbed. I mean, he's pretty much lived in the training room since Saturday. Each day has been a little bit better. Workload probably more today than he has all week. Probably tomorrow we'll move him around a little bit and shoot around, but that's it. We'll see where it is. He's not 100, but he's going to give it a shot, and we'll see from there.
The front.
Paul Woody, Richmond Times Dispatch again. Mike, how good does it feel to be here after not being here last year for the first time since 2011? And how tough is it to be in the 8-9 matchup where neither team's really favored, neither team's really an underdog? Since '85, it's 68 and 68 in those games. What do you want to prove, and what can you prove from that spot?
Well, just to be back here, I said this numerous times throughout the year. We had to go through a year like last year for us to sort of recalibrate who we are. You have to go through some stuff to build your culture. You have to go through some stuff that you don't always like to build the program the way you want it. And you know, I'm not saying we got spoiled, because this is something we want to do all the time, but we got to make sure we're always doing it the right way on and off the court, and that we're never taking it for granted. And I think this year everybody is very appreciative that the position we're in, but I think it was the reason we're here is because of all the work these guys did in the spring of last year, the summer and the fall, when nobody was watching, when the lights weren't on. And that's what I'm most proud about. That's building and working on our culture, which if you have that, then it gives you a better chance to get to the NCAA tournament each year. On top of that, I think the experience of this season, we probably surprised some people, and it kept getting better and better. That gives us confidence to go into a tournament, whatever your seeding is, 8-9, you're exactly right, very similar teams. But it's about how we prepare and we go about it. We played some really good teams. We played a bunch of teams that are in the NCAA tournament. So I think our guys are going to be really excited, but I don't think they'll be nervous. I think that they really want to play, and they deserve it for sure.
Coach, right side on the outside aisle.
Mike, if you're facing a team that's got a really dominant left-handed player, and obviously you're going to go over that in the scouting report, but do you find that still sometimes guys in the heat of the battle that kind of eludes them a little bit, and they might, you know, shade towards the right hand by accidentally?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You know, it's sometimes you do all this scouting report, and when the ball goes up, the scout report's out the window. We've all been there. If you coach long enough, you see it. But we talk about having awareness all the time. You might do it once because we shoot for a perfect game, but you're not playing a perfect game. But if you make a mistake, own it, have awareness, and move on. And when you have a clear mind and clear head and your teammates are helping you, that's when you don't make that mistake a second or third time. If you make it a second and third time this time of the year, your season's usually over. So we talk about having great awareness, and when something doesn't go our way, own it, move on, play with a clear head.
Have you found in your experience that lefties tend to use both hands better than righties do?
No. You know, we really talk in our scouting report. We really talk about personnel and who we're guarding and stuff like that. So our guys know, and then we're really big on talking about the scouting report and personnel. So it's just not a report a coach gives because he's supposed to do that. We want to make sure we want to get to a point in our program that our juniors and seniors are pretty much running the scouting report and personnel and holding their teammates accountable. We're getting there, and we saw that throughout the year. So. You know, tendencies of players. I know a lot of good players that are righty, but go better left because that's what the coaches tell you when you're a young age, and vice versa. So we got to work on it. We show our guys a lot of tape. We do a lot of stuff on the court when it comes to personnel of other teams, and we want to make sure they own the scouting report from that way.
And the center aisle.
Obviously, the NCAA tournament is a goal for so many players. So once they get here, what's the mental preparation like, both from an individual basis and as a team, to make sure, especially for guys who haven't been here yet, to make sure they're focused and ready to go for tip-off? You know
what's greater than getting in the NCAA tournament? Winning a game in the NCAA tournament. And look, their whole lives, these players, their first goal is to be a Division I player and get a full scholarship to get a free education. Check. Then the next thing is they want to go to a basketball school where they could win a championship. Check. And then they want to make the NCAA tournament. Check. You know what's better than all that? Taking your teammates that you love to be with, your brothers that you're going to have for the rest of your life, and going in the NCAA tournament and winning games. And why not go after that? That's the fun of it. And I think you got to get your team excited about being here, but go win. That's why we're here.
Staying in the center.
Coach, obviously didn't result in a win, but losing Marcus last Friday night, but seeing Isaac Van, seeing Dariante talk to the team, work those guys around, communication was key. What do you think you found out about your team in that moment on the fly last Friday?
Well, there was definitely a level of fight, and the guys were trying to figure it out. I think some of the guys were really nervous for Marcus because they thought it was like a career-ending injury. They thought it was they're thinking of the worst, and that took some time for them to figure that out. But we've been through some crazy battles, and some of these guys have been through some coaching changes, some players leaving, and last year Isaac Van played with a bad leg all year, and then got surgery. We had another guy get surgery. We had some crazy things happen last year. We went through it, not the results we won in the end, and they've all matured. Now there's another thing that occurred in the A-10 tournament last weekend. I figured it out, deal with it, move on, and you saw that during the game. Now we didn't win the game and disappointed, but what more do we have? And now we're here in the NCAA tournament. What more do we have to give each other?
Any more questions? We'll stay here in the center aisle.
Probably more of a dilemma for your fans, but with a 9:40 tip tomorrow night, you guys only had 2 or 3 9 o'clock tips this year. How do you manage time, emotions, and energy tomorrow with the team?
We'll have sleep in a little bit. We'll have do a little stretching program that we usually do when we play a late game like that. We'll go shoot around. We'll have our shoot around and walk through, and then guys will be watching games. What do you do? Well, you're gonna watch. Well, I know what some of you guys will do. We can't do that, but I think as the day goes on, you watch games, they'll be fired up. So 9:40 is a late start, but these guys have played AAU basketball since probably 3rd grade, and there's sometimes you start games at 11 o'clock. They'll be fine. They'll be raring to go.
Dariante mentioned the other day that it's kind of a style of play game. How much has that been kind of the message throughout the week? Obviously, that you want to get the pace up in every game you play, but particularly, we're going against a player like Taco. Make sure you're getting the pace up to where you want it on Friday.
Yeah, that doesn't matter who we play and what the other team has. We want to play that way because we're going to play a lot of guys, and the pace. We want the pace. I want our guys to play fast. I want them to play aggressive because that's the fun way to play. That's been successful for us. So we want to do that. Playing a team for the first time late in the season, and you can get the style play going, I think that's an advantage. Now, there's going to be times we're going to, run plays and settle down here and there, but we definitely want to make sure we're being really aggressive. If you get beat in the NCAA tournament, you don't want to have any we should have or could have. We don't want to say we were on our heels too much. If we're going to go down, it's because somebody's going to beat us at their best and us being close to our best. And I could live with that, but we want to make sure that we're playing and the game is going the way we want.
Back right corner.
Hi, Mike. David Teal from Newport News. You guys are, I believe, 7th in the country in defensive efficiency. It's a team effort, I'm sure, but is there one guy you would say is the ringleader for you defensively?
I couldn't pick out one guy, but I will say this. Marcus Evans' pressure on the ball up the court starts our defense when we're not pressing or it turns into a half court. Isaac Van's been guarding perimeter offensive players at a high level all year long. He should have been all conference on the defensive end. I think around the rim, our guys are very versatile and they can really move, so that really helps our guards, sometimes take some chances, sometimes deny, get push the offense out. I think our big guys really this year have done a great job of protecting the rim and scrambling because they can really move. So it's a collective group without a doubt, but I think certain guys are good at certain things that have really helped us.
The last question here on the aisle.
Mike, you said maybe sleep in a little tomorrow. I'm curious, going back to the preseason, can you remember the last time you slept in?
No, I got 3 kids and I take them to school every morning, so no, I don't sleep in at all. The players will. I mean, these guys would sleep till 2 if they could. We're not going to let them, but no, the problem I have is I don't go to sleep, and when I go to sleep, then you hear people waking up in the morning, so it's over for me. So sleep in May.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
These are on.
Yeah, these are on.